Join our family of creators. Your support means the world to us. Subscribe now to the Content Creator channel. Your support keeps us motivated and helps us bring you fresh, exciting content every week. Hit that subscribe button and be part of our journey. Imagine living in constant fear, not knowing if today will be the day you're targeted. This is the harsh reality for many in South Africa, gripped by the scourge of xenophobia. We call it the Rainbow Nation, a vibrant mix of cultures, people, and hopes. But sometimes that rainbow gets a bit stormy. There's a shadow that keeps appearing, a really ugly one. It's called xenophobia. This isn't just some academic term, it's real. It's about fear. It's about hatred directed at people simply because they are from another country. This is a serious issue, folks. The main targets of this anger are often our fellow Africans, people from Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Nigeria, Somalia, and it doesn't stop there. Foreign nationals from Asian countries like Pakistan and Bangladesh also face this hostility. Many of these individuals are here seeking refuge. They come looking for safety, for a chance at a better life. Instead, for too many, they find suspicion and violence. This isn't a new problem that just popped up yesterday. This has been a recurring nightmare in South Africa. We've seen these waves of violence since the mid-1990s. Just when you think things are calming down, it flares up again. This pattern of attacks creates an environment of constant fear. It's time to lift the mat and see what's been swept under it. Let's take a little walk down memory lane. Not the fun kind, unfortunately. We're talking about the history of xenophobic attacks in South Africa. This story really picks up steam in the mid-1990s, right after apartheid ended. We were all celebrating freedom and equality, but it seems some forms of discrimination just found new targets. Instead of solely race within, it became nationality from without. These outbreaks of violence aren't isolated incidents. They are part of a disturbing pattern. We saw major flare-ups in 2008, then again in 2015. And smaller but still brutal attacks happen more often than we'd like to admit. Shops are looted and burned. People are attacked, sometimes killed. Their homes are destroyed. These aren't just statistics. These are lives, families, dreams shattered. The violence is often brutal and very public, designed to intimidate and to drive people out. Imagine the fear these communities live under. Constantly. Every day. They are often blamed for crime. They are accused of stealing jobs. They become easy scapegoats for deeper societal problems. This history of violence casts a long shadow over present-day South Africa. It hasn't gone away, a trend we urgently need to break, for everyone's sake. So, why does this keep happening? What are the triggers for this xenophobic violence? Well, a big one is the economy. South Africa has high unemployment, many people are living in poverty. When resources are scarce, competition gets fierce. It's easy to point fingers at outsiders for taking jobs or straining services. This narrative is simple, it's powerful, and it's very, very dangerous. It paints foreign nationals not as contributors, but as a burden or a threat to local livelihoods. Then you have the social factors. Inequality is a massive issue in South Africa. It's one of the most unequal societies in the world. This creates deep social tensions. When people feel left behind, frustrated and powerless, they look for someone to blame. Foreign nationals, often visible and vulnerable, become an easy target. Scapegoating is an old trick, but it still works. It diverts attention from systemic problems. Politics also plays a significant role. Sometimes, political leaders use rhetoric that fans the flames. Understanding these root causes is the first step. Now let's talk about groups like Operation Dudula. Dudula means to push back or to force out in Zulu. This group says it's all about tackling crime. They claim they are targeting illegal immigrants. They say they are just concerned citizens trying to enforce the law. They present themselves as a community-led initiative. They argue they are doing what the government is failing to do. But their actions often tell a different story. Operation Dudula has been linked to raids on informal traders. They've been involved in demanding documents from people. There have been reports of intimidation and violence during their activities. While they officially deny xenophobic motives, many observers and victims see it differently. Their focus on foreign nationals, particularly Black Africans, raises serious questions. Is it really about crime, or is it about who they think belongs? The group itself is quite vocal. They are active on social media. They organize marches and demonstrations. They claim to be fighting for South Africans. The line between citizen activism and harmful vigilantism can be very thin indeed. Section 5. Cries for justice. Human rights watchdogs speak out. Thankfully, there are people shining a light on these dark corners. Organizations like Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch are on the ground. They are doing the hard work of documenting what's happening. They talk to victims, they gather evidence, they try to piece together the full picture of xenophobic violence in South Africa. Their work is absolutely crucial. Without them, many of these stories would go unheard. Many perpetrators would remain unchallenged. What have these organizations found? Well, their reports paint a grim picture. They have documented numerous attacks over the years. They've highlighted the patterns of violence. They've shown how foreign nationals, refugees, and asylum seekers are systematically targeted. They point to the horrific nature of these attacks, the burning, the looting, the physical assaults. They also highlight the psychological trauma that these communities endure. It's a constant state of alert, a constant fear of the next outburst. A major part of their work involves holding power to account. The advocacy of these human rights organizations is vital. Section 6. Where is the government? Accountability in question, so human rights groups are sounding the alarm, but what about the South African government? What has its response been? Well, to be frank, it's often been found wanting. There have been condemnations of violence, yes. There have been promises to act, but many feel that these words are not backed up by sufficient deeds. The response is often described as inadequate, slow, or inconsistent. This is a serious charge against a state meant to protect everyone within its borders. One of the biggest criticisms is the lack of accountability. When xenophobic attacks happen, how many people are arrested? How many are prosecuted? How many are actually convicted and sentenced? The numbers are shockingly low. This failure to bring perpetrators to justice sends a terrible message. It suggests that you can attack foreigners and get away with it. It creates a climate of impunity. And that, of course, only encourages more violence down the line. This lack of accountability has devastating consequences for migrant communities. They live in a constant state of fear. They don't trust that the police will protect them. Section 7. The White Genocide Deception Facts versus Fearmongering. Now, let's switch gears a bit. While South Africa grapples with very real xenophobic violence against African and Asian nationals, another narrative has been making noise. It's the claim of a white genocide in South Africa. This idea suggests that white South Africans, particularly farmers, are being systematically targeted and killed because of their race. This narrative has been pushed by some groups locally. And believe it or not, it even got the attention of former US President Donald Trump and advisor Elon Musk. But here's the thing, this claim of white genocide has been widely discredited. Experts have looked at the data, and the data simply doesn't support it. Yes, farm attacks are a serious crime problem in South Africa. They are horrific. But crime statistics show that these attacks affect both black and white citizens. The primary motive in most of these cases is robbery, not racial targeting. Gareth Newham from the Institute for Security Studies has affirmed this. Robbery is the driver, not some state-sponsored plot to eliminate white farmers. To put it in perspective, farm murders, while tragic, account for less than 1% of the over 27,000 murders that happen in South Africa each year. Section 8. Selective Sanctuary, the controversy of Afrikaner refugees. This white genocide narrative had some international legs, unfortunately. In February 2025, then US President Donald Trump issued an executive order. This order allowed for the resettlement of some white Afrikaner refugees from South Africa in the United States. The justification? Allegations of racially discriminatory property confiscation and yes, that debunked claim of genocide. This was a pretty big move, and it definitely stirred the pot. Then, on May 15, 2025, the first group of 59 Afrikaner refugees arrived in the US under this new program. So it wasn't just talk, it became a reality for some. However, this decision was met with a lot of criticism. Many people saw it as racially biased. Why this specific group? Why now? Especially when the Trump administration had a pretty restrictive stance on refugees from other parts of the world facing very real, documented crises. The South African government also criticized the order naturally, adding to the drama during a White House meeting on May 21, 2025. President Trump reportedly showed videos to South African President Cyril Ramaphosa. These videos apparently tried to back up false claims of mass killings of Afrikaners. But again, police statistics do not support the idea that white South Africans are uniquely vulnerable to violent crime. On the land issue, President Ramaphosa signed a new land law in January 2025. Section 9, Building Bridges, Not Walls, the fight for a united South Africa. So, where does all this leave us? Xenophobia against African and Asian foreign nationals is a shocking reality in South Africa. It's a stain on the Rainbow Nation's promise, a betrayal of the spirit of Ubuntu. I am because we are. This isn't just about isolated incidents of violence, it's a systemic problem needing urgent attention. Addressing economic hardship and high unemployment is crucial. Inequality fuels resentment and blame. Policies must create opportunities for all. Reducing desperation can prevent scapegoating. This is a long-term project. It requires political will and investment. The government has a critical role to play. There must be accountability for xenophobic violence. Perpetrators need to be brought to justice. Victims need to feel safe and protected. Leaders must condemn xenophobia, promote tolerance, inclusion, and respect for human rights. Education and community dialogues can break down stereotypes. Combating xenophobia is essential for South Africa's future.